Here's Corin. All right. Yeah. Headed to the zip line. Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
This is the spot. Look at that. It's gorgeous here. Absolutely gorgeous. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Excellent.
Austin?
Yes, sir.
What's up,
Austin, what's up, brother?
Nice to meet you, sir.
Corin, great to meet you, man.
That's the best way. Everybody signed, correct? I didn't miss anybody. Cool.
He signed. Scott, did you sign the waiver?
Yeah, I know he signed, so I was just making sure. Cool. Well, welcome to AdventureWorks. My name's Austin. This is Caitlin. We'll be doing your tour today. We got a few rules of the road we got to go over before we can get started. First thing I want to go over is this white sign right here. It's the abbreviated version of that safety waiver that you signed up front. It just simply says that ziplining is a sporting activity that does involve your active participation. You'll be taking off and landing by your own power at the beginning and ending of each zipline. And as with any sporting activity, there's potential you get hurt. Just use good judgment, common sense, be excellent to one another, and we should have a nice fun time. Sound like something we can handle?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Perfect. I also got these green and white signs we're going to go over really quick. First one is no leaping off the platform. We're going to go up a set of stairs every single time. There'll be a big old red line painted on the top of it. Biggest thing is that as you walk up there, do not pass that red line until we get you clipped into about your mid-back. Once that happens, we'll clip you in like so, you'll be good to go. The biggest thing is that you do not leap off the platform. These trolleys are top heavy, and so they will flip. You'll be fine, you'll just dangle out there. Caitlin will have to use her big girl muscles to pull you back in.
All right, Caitlin.
It's not fun for you, it's not fun for her, it's only fun for the people who gets to watch, yeah. Also, do not bounce the cables while you're out there. Bouncing the cables could do the same exact thing, just further out into the middle, and then I'll have to go get you, and it's really not fun.
I might enjoy that.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Road ready. Sucker's already recording. We're good to go. Let's see how it's going in here.
Pull down on that gray tab and pull up on the yellow. Should tighten right up for you.
It's a good look, Scott. Yeah.
You don't want them to be too tight because when you do get up in the harness, it's going to pull a little bit. So we do want them to be safe and stuff.
Interesting technique. You ready to go, Scott? You ready for this? It's gonna be fun. It is, whether we like it or not. 2 down, like 8 to go. 8 to go? 8 to go. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make history here. I know my weird headband thing from my hat looks strange, but let's just roll with it and pretend that it's a new trend.
Wooden ramp instead of dirt. Okay.
That's when we.
Yep. There you go. Perfect. Let me untip you, and you're good to go.
Oh, this is rad. Okay, here we go. I'm allowing the pros to do my dirty work for me just in case.
Waiting on clear.
Oh yeah, we'll hear it. There it is. Ready to go. Lowering down, getting unhooked. Has anybody ever jumped off before they got unhooked?
Yes.
All the time. All right, here we go. What? Oh, what?
To get you to come all the way to the top of the platform. Thank you, sir.
That was extreme.
Well,
That was a good one. Is it getting better?
It gets better from
Oh
here.
boy, here we go. Let me throw that over my shoulder and prepare myself. Woo!
Let's get a Top Gun high five.
Chad,
What's up, bro?
what do you think so far?
Oh, this brings back times of back when I was in NAM. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't in NAM. No,
You mean Chirac?
Yeah, Chirac.
Your
Chicago.
time in Chicago.
Yeah, it was like Chicago, Chirac, you know, when I was over there in Baghdad.
We have a Baghdad, Texas,
We do.
don't we? Oh, well, I know we have a Palestine, Texas.
Yeah. We haven't made it to the two-state solution there yet.
No, we haven't. But we will. One day soon.
Alright, so this is a little different. Very simple. You're just gonna walk, jog down this hill. You watch out for the mini rocks and roots. If you want to run, you are more than welcome to. Be aware, you are responsible for stopping yourself.
Okay.
Just like you've done this entire time.
Sounds good to me.
It's a quick stop if you run.
If there's one thing I know how to do is stop myself. Well,
Are you, sir?
I've known you a week. Should have taken off my visor. All right, Scott. Make us look good, pal.
You ready, sir?
I'll make us look really bad.
Ooh.
A long way down.
It is a long way down. I'm ready for it, though. Here we
Alright,
go.
wanna put your hook down?
All right. The just-in-case slatch. Yes.
Good.
All right. I'm not gonna do anything fun or funky here. I'm just gonna go for it and sit down and hop off. Yee-hoo!
Oh!
Oh, that was awesome. Woo!
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know about
The
that.
last one.
I don't know about that pseudo shit.
The highest one, but not the fastest, apparently.
You took it?
You nap after this.
I don't know.
At least turn my hat back around
Pretty
frontwards.
Me too. Yeah! That's the whole thing went.
Again, the safety clip. Everything's in. No chance of falling off of this thing.
Good.
Gonna sit down, gonna take it slow and steady. Get my arm out from under there and
Are you ready?
say la vie! Woo! This is hella fast! Skidding to a stop. Oh,
Oh!
this is so rad, bro. This is so rad.
Glad you enjoyed.
Woo! Get in there, Scat. Get out of there. Get in there. Oh. If you do have to come out, just come out the driver's side. Yep. We're all good. All right. We are recording. What's up, buddy?
Oh, nothing much.
Oh.
Just tired.
What a day today. You should be tired. I'm exhausted, and all I did was hang from a latch and go down
Yeah.
a what are those things called? I don't know what they're called. The doohickeys.
The Ziplining, whatever the thing is called. Just steel wire. There
Steel
it is.
wire.
Yeah. Just steel wire in a trolley.
Now, you guys were one of the very first people to give us an email to come
Gotcha.
and visit, what I think is really, really cool. Like within a few days and everything. So one thing I do want to do is first introduce you to folks. Your name?
My name is Austin Brazel
Austin
from
Brazel.
Hot Springs.
I love it. Born and raised here?
No, I moved here. When was that? Technically it was December of 2017.
Oh, that's it?
Yep.
Oh, that's not that long ago.
And I met her, and I met my wife in January.
In January. That's very quick.
Next January, yep.
Where'd you grow up most of your life?
We moved every about 5 years,
Mhm.
so just kept going different places.
So
Best
wait-
place was probably Branson.
Branson?
Missouri.
Missouri, okay. But which state were you born in?
Tennessee, but I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
And then, and which, where did you go from Tennessee?
From Tennessee, we moved to Lebanon, Missouri, and I lived there till what, 6.5, something like that. like I was like a year and a half old when we moved from Tennessee. So, and then after that we moved to Branson, and then after that we moved to Searcy, Arkansas, and then I moved to Oklahoma, and now I'm here.
What were you doing in Oklahoma?
So, school.
For college?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. What were you studying at that time?
I studied anthropology with a ministry minor.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really, anthropology is an interest of mine as well, although I never studied it. But I do read some books.
There you go.
Out of curiosity, was the moving around tough on you? Was having to bump around to a lot of different places was tough on you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like what in what ways did you find it challenging?
Well, I didn't want to make friendships that lasted because I'm just going to move.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one hard thing.
And
I had to deal with.
And did that kind of slow down after a while? Like like how old were you when you finally landed someplace where you stayed in school for more than 3 or 4 years at a time or something?
Well, it was about 5 years every time that I was in school. I mean, it was right around that mark. So like high school was probably the best because I made an effort after I graduated to like stay connected with my friends, and so like we have a married friend who lives up in Conway, Arkansas that we go see sometimes, but I know them from high school. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, with all the moving around, when you did finally get in, I mean, I moved around a lot as well when I was young. Oddly enough, fortunately though, that in some of the moves in Georgia, especially, we kind of moved around the same school district, type of thing, sort of side grading, not upgrading, but side grading as we call it. So I do understand the moving bit. But when you did have those 5-year stints, I mean, what were your parents doing at the time that was creating the
Dad's
need
youth
for moving?
pastor.
Okay.
Youth pastor, so we would just move to different churches.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but my mom was her own business, so she could move wherever she wanted as a graphic designer.
Oh, your mom's a graphic designer?
Well, more specifically, a website designer. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, that's a different thing. My mom was a graphic designer, but that's 70s, 80s when, it's the technology hasn't quite advanced.
I got you. Yeah, she did her own. She had her own business where she did website design. So.
Well, that's great though. Actually, I mean So you had a consistency with family life, and
I mean, she worked from home, so I always came home to her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And was because your father being a youth minister, youth pastor, religion was a big part of your life, a fundamental part of your life, or was it?
I mean,
just something that was there.
Yes, absolutely, but we don't call it religion.
Okay.
Because we believe in a relationship with Christ. And so religion is God, or is man's attempt to connect with God. Mm-hmm. And we don't believe that. So
I love that, actually. Yeah. That's really, really beautiful.
Because Christ came to earth to build a relationship with us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and there was when he was what was the I'm not as proficient in biblical knowledge or New Testament especially, but what was the name of the hill that he spoke from when he did one of his big speeches to everybody? What was?
I want to say one, but I know it's not right.
Wasn't? What was it? Oh yeah, Mount of Olives. Yeah, exactly. Mount of Olives, exactly. Garden, so. Yeah, well, no, when I was, the analogy was going to be that there was no walls around that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was so. Do you think that that choices that you've made in your life have been weighed against what you've learned from a spiritual side?
I mean, absolutely, because my school was a Christian school. As I said, I'm a ministry minor. And so, like, chapel was required at the school. I mean, it was 96 credits. There was 30 a semester in 4 years, so it wasn't super hard to do.
Yeah.
So being surrounded by that was pretty easy.
Oh.
Ice cream!
It's an ice cream truck. Of course, right now. Of all times. And he's not going to stop for the kids either. You see the kids just, they just keep walking towards him. He can keep going. Perfect. Although it is nice background music for us. It's a little creepy, but I don't mind. But we're talking about what I'm trying to get at is or flush out is like the spiritual spine or the spiritual quality that you hold dear to yourself. You know, the level of importance that has in relationship to how you deal with life, people, situations, all of that. Do you have a good filter for that based on your spiritual growth and how to deal with people without being going off the cuff?
I've definitely waxed and waned at times. Honestly, when I moved out and I started going to the school, I was like, oh, I just have chapel. I go to all this stuff all the time. So I stopped being involved in church and didn't really go. I kind of went here and there.
Yeah.
But actually, I got to a pretty dark place my junior year, which was really rough because, like, I wasn't, like, suicidal, like, ready to kill myself.
Sure.
But I was at the point of, if that car just runs straight into me, I'll be fine.
Right.
So I was just kind of done with everything. So
what do you think was, out of curiosity, if you don't mind talking about it, we don't have to, but what do you think it was that was pushing you into a darker kind of place?
It's weird because I don't really remember a lot. I just know that I was in an apartment with people I didn't get along with. One of them, the one person I did get along with, was never there. And so I was in my room and it was dark and I just literally played video games. And so I didn't care about school. I didn't do any of that stuff. Plus in 2016, I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. Big word, I know.
That is a big one. I'm not going to try and repeat it.
Yeah, so...
I'm going to take your word for it.
It's a rheumatological disease. It's in that family, so like rheumatoid arthritis, that type of family.
Sure.
And so for 2016, I couldn't really walk.
Wow.
I remember at one point I had the flu as well, and I was just in so much pain. I was like, I was just ready to die. At one point I fell down the stairs. And so I'm very blessed to do what I do now.
Absolutely. I would never have guessed that. So what was that? I mean, how sudden did that come on?
So I got a job at Walmart doing the stocking in the back, and I couldn't go to class because I couldn't walk to class.
Really?
Yeah. I got fired from Walmart because I called in too many times because I literally could not, like, walk to my car to drive to work.
And where was the pain that you were feeling, or was it
primarily in the lower back, but it is all up in my back.
So it's like a nerve pain, or
it is
neuromuscular?
Is the type. They've gone back and forth on what it really is. They've currently reclassified it as an inflammatory disease. It used to be an autoimmune, but they've reclassified it inflammatory. I don't know what the big difference is. Right. It's just a difference. So
it's a young age to have something like that suddenly come on. Because you didn't have any issues with it younger than that. I'm assuming. We might not have just known that was what was happening, and it wasn't awesome. Right. So it was just here and there, and so... but that's a critical age in life, the 15, 16 years old, you know, when everybody's suddenly going out and doing stuff, and it's like it gets, you know, you suddenly can drive, and you have all these freedoms that are, you know, given to you. You know, having something like that creep up on you at that time, it must have been pretty rough. How did you deal with that?
I was blessed to have understanding professors. And so I was able to pass the semester, and I went home, much to my dismay, because I was supposed to go to Portland, Oregon. I was not happy about it, but my parents were like, no, you're not going. So I didn't go. And which was probably a good decision, because I had some pretty bad pain meltdowns as that summer progressed. I did go back that fall. It wasn't great, but I did go back, and that's when I started. Where did I start? That was when I started Humira, I think, and so I saw lots of improvement with that. Recently, I've been in more pain, so I got changed my medicine again. Yeah, like right now, I'm actually spazzing on my right side.
How do you? Because I would never know that if you didn't tell me. Because you keep it together really well. I mean, where do you find the inner strength to be able to deal with a constant or nagging kind of pain or discomfort without like blowing your top? Because I would completely blow my top after a while. I don't know. I might not.
I just kind of learned to live with it. I don't know. It sucks.
It does. Dude, I know it does. No, it's fine. It's fine.
So, yeah. Sometimes I just push through, and then I collapse. So.
And I know that, yeah, dude.
It's just been a long day too, so.
It has been a long day. But you treated us really great, and we had a fantastic time at the spot where you work, and I appreciate it so much. And you know, I want to take us up out of this darkness that we're in right now, brother, because you know, I can tell that you have such loving people around you, and your attitude is so strong and great. You know, I know we hit these bumps in the road, man. If you had seen me before I got on the road to do this trip, you would have been like, oh, this guy's a complete wreck. He's not going to do anything with his life with this, because everything fell apart for me. Everything fell apart, you know. But we have to get up, and we have to put everything back together again.
Yes.
And you know, I can see that you got the strength inside of you to pull through it, and you got the support that you need to pull through it.
I do.
You know, and at your age, you're 23.
Yep.
You know, at 23 years old, let's get back into something. You know, about when you're leaving high school and you're going into the college age and everything. You had to kind of restructure some things, make a few other decisions. What did you have an idea about what? Did you project an idea about what you wanted the future to be like at that time?
At that time, I was just ready to get out.
Yeah, yeah.
I graduated. We had a rough church transition. That my whole senior year of high school, and so I immediately got out of there. My parents ended up moving to Harrison, Arkansas, which is where my grandparents live. Okay. My dad's parents. And so I just wanted to get out because I hated Searcy, Arkansas. Hated it.
Just a garbage place.
It's awful.
What
So it's not that bad.
For you,
I didn't like it. Yeah, for me it was. I didn't like it. I've gone back a few times, and I'm like, I could go with never coming back here again. So, but I know people there, and as I said, like I try to stay my connections from high school. So, it's an alright place. I just not a fan.
Yeah, I dig it.
Not a fan.
Well, environments are important, you know, when we're going through, you know, difficult times, especially, you know, because some environments, the negativity or negative associations with them can become as burdensome as anything.
Ice cream truck coming back.
He's just dying to sell us some ice cream.
I guess so.
If I had a couple bucks on me, I'd buy some. When, you know, I'm feeling this. This is a heavy arc that we're dealing with here, because at 23 years old, you know, it's like the expanse of the future is great.
Yes.
And And when you made that decision, or when you collectively made the decision to hold off on Oregon and all of that, and in all likelihood, I think it probably was the best decision, because when, if you had been up there,
Yes.
isolated, alone, and then dealt with some of these things, that could have been an absolute disaster.
Absolutely.
So I know that must have been a tough choice, though. But how did things start settling down for you, where you felt like, okay, I can go and start creating, a life for myself again, even with this situation that that you're dealing with? Like, what was happening during that time period?
So I'd never really settled back until I moved to Hot Springs, actually, and met my wife. I just kind of was in a lull in school. I don't like school. I hate school.
I don't blame you a bit.
So I didn't, and I had a valid excuse of my ankylosing spondylitis, AS for short, and so I was like, I don't have to go to class. I don't have to make the effort to go to class. As long as I get all my stuff in, I'll be good.
Right.
And my professors worked with me, maybe foolishly.
Do you think that might have been a hindrance to you to not have pushed yourself harder in that sense?
Absolutely. And so, because I was just kind of in a lull, and I didn't really try super hard.
Yeah.
But when I moved here and I met my wife, it was just like, all right, I am here now.
A light went on.
Yes.
How'd you meet
was
your wife?
Really, it was funny. I was in, she's going to look at me because I'm going to tell it wrong.
That's all right. It's their job. It's their job.
So I just was here in Hot Springs, don't know a soul, just living with my mom at the time, because I don't even know if my dad had moved in yet. He was finishing his job to find a job here. So I don't even know if he was here yet. And my mom was like, hey, go talk to this person, because our church has a college at the church, and they were playing a basketball game. Hey, go to this basketball game, meet this person. So I did. I went to his small group that next Wednesday, I think it was. And I was like, the only reason I'm in Hot Springs is to get a job so I can get money so I can go back and finish school. And then I walked into their house, not knowing a soul. I didn't know his wife. I didn't know him, really. I just had that, it was like a 5-minute interaction, maybe, that we had together. Which I'm fine with, because, I move so much, so I had to do that anyway to, get myself in. And so, and I was just like, I remember texting or talking to a friend. I was like, yeah, I was there, and I was like, ooh, pretty girl. And turns out she had just had a conversation with one of her friends about, the guy she was looking for and the type. And I was wearing, a plaid shirt, and I had my beard, probably bigger than it is right now, actually. And that's basically what she described. And so it was just one of those things. It was just basically one of those things that was just I was like, ooh, pretty girl. And she was like, oh, hi. And we didn't really talk that night. It was the following week. There's another kind of college ministry type of stuff on the Wednesday, and it's called Ignite. That's what we do here. And I just went, still not knowing anybody. I talked to a few people that following Wednesday, and she was about the only person I recognized, so I started going over to her, even though she says she approaches me first. But I think it was one of those mutual things that she was probably just faster moving, you know? And so I sat with her, and that night we talked, we did all that fun stuff. She ended up finding me on Facebook, I think. I think she found me on Facebook and invited me over to hang out with her crew, that whole friend group that she had.
Yeah.
And then we started the new members class at the church together, and we just started hanging out, and it was like we drove around Hot Springs for like 3 nights in a row, 2 or 3 nights in a row, with like tornado warnings going on. But like, yeah, my parents weren't happy because I was living with them. So after that, the rest is kind of history. She came over, met my parents, and we started dating the next day, and that was it.
Well, it's, you know, what's really beautiful about that is it seems like a relatively traditional kind of meeting and courting and all of that, which is so rare.
It was really fast, but
yeah,
it was.
Well, when you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I knew I was ready to marry her within the first couple days. So, and I think she had messaged her sister and told her the same thing. So.
Yeah, there's a light actually in that bag right there. If you want to grab it, and we can.
Getting dark.
Yeah, you can just reach in there and grab it. We'll just keep recording here. I'm not afraid of natural occurrences happening in the middle of a. It's the one in the bottom. Yes, it's that one. There you go, buddy.
Perfect. Oh, that's good light.
And we can just set that right. It's
Nope,
probably
too
good
bright.
right there.
No, I'm just kidding.
How's that looking? A little closer, like here,
Perfect.
like that. There we go. Ooh. Well, I'm also really impressed with everything you've been through. That at a young age, you seem to have maintained a kind of spine and character and a groundedness that is I think relatively uncommon, for young for young folks. Not I mean, I'm not generalizing here, even though I'm generalizing. But what was it that gave you this kind of content, this kind of character that I'm seeing here? Okay. And what do you think was the impetus for that? Like, was it a specific directional kind of path he set you on, or was it an ongoing, consistent relationship?
An ongoing process.
Yeah.
So, I know my mom was my advocate, but I watched what my dad did.
Yeah.
So.
That's beautiful, man. My parents split up when I was 1. I didn't have a dad around, and I was looking in all the wrong places for a father figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that did not serve me well in life. And when you have these kind of people that you can look up to and that are there for you in your life, man, it's just it's beautiful. You got to embrace it, man. It's an absolute blessing.
Plus, he introduced me to Stargate. So
good job, Dad. I love it. Well, speaking of Stargate, what did you think of Stargate? How did you like it as a show?
It's my favorite show of all time. I watch it once yearly, all the way from the first movie all the way through Universe. So
the movie was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the first movie. Oh man, I was
a little cheesy as the age.
As it ages,
there's just the constant.
The hair,
yeah,
the hairdos.
Yeah. So, but I love it. I love it. So I remember growing up watching you on TV. So, and I remember liking you. And then when I got older, and people were like, "I don't like Jonas Quinn," and I was like, "Why?"
Aw, Jonas was a nice guy.
I know, Jonas was a great guy.
He tried so hard.
He did. And so I think people were just too upset about Jackson.
Yeah. Well, they were not nearly as upset as I was when I got written out of the show after one season, and I had just bought a house based on the fact that I was supposed to keep working on the show.
Keep working, yeah.
That was a shocker.
Yeah, that's rough.
Segueing back to the life story. I mean, that's a dramatic arc. What I'm curious about now is you have your relationship with your wife, which is a huge plus and benefit. And how do you see, like, what are your plans from this point forward in terms of your goals, your objectives? What do you want to see for yourself and your family in 10 years? Like,
that's the ongoing process. So. The immediate thing is I love my job. I kind of want to do this for the rest of my life. Whether it's starting my own type of situation where I take guided trips like rock climbing and stuff. That's what I really want to do. But the biggest thing right now is just supporting her through nursing school
Gotcha.
and paying off our debt. So
Yeah. Yeah. yeah.
It's my school debt too. She doesn't have any school debt.
Lucky you.
So she was smart and paid for it as she's gone, and she's phenomenal because she, contrastly to me, like I had my parents and I'm like moved back in with my parents, and she moved across the country from Reno to Hot Springs. So by herself.
Really?
For a guy, by the way.
Reno, Nevada. Right? That Reno? There's got to be another Reno out there somewhere in America, but that's the only one I know of.
So, yeah.
Well, what a blessing then to, you know, the fortuitous kind of crossing of paths that occurs in life. You know, when I look at that, it's what do we do with the moment that we have in our, you know, at our disposal. You know, for instance, starting this crazy adventure that we're on, you know, if it wasn't for Chad saying, hey man, I'm between jobs right now. And I'm like, well, I have no job right now. You know, we're like, well, let's just go ahead and do this. If neither one of us had just thrown caution to the wind and dove in on this and then brought Scott into it, you know, none of this experience would be happening for any of us, which I'm very excited about it myself.
I mean, I saw you guys were taking the trip, and that's why I tweeted at you. I was like, hey, if you stop by, come on.
You were one of the very first. You were one of the very first. And so, in fact, it was one of the first conversations we had was we have to go, no matter which direction we go out of Texas, we have to end up in Hot Springs as soon as possible, you know, and this town is a beautiful town as well.
It is.
It's a great place to live.
A lot of history.
Yeah.
A lot of history, a lot of gangster history.
Yeah.
Al Capone, baseball, spring training was held here, so...
Yeah, you have to wonder why were they holding spring training here of all places?
Right? So,
deals will be made.
So, a lot of history in Hot Springs,
but
the national park and everything.
Yeah, and you seem to enjoy working outdoors, being in more of a...
I do.
Yeah.
So it's hard sometimes when my pain levels go up.
That's what I was wondering about, because
so my pain levels
it's an
do
active
go up.
job that you're doing.
But the more active I am, generalized, the less pain I'm in. So like with COVID and everything that has happened, well, one, I don't work for the month of January, so like a month and a half. I don't work for that month. We're closed. Our park is closed, and I was just kind of like not doing anything,
right?
Because I didn't have to,
right?
And so with that, I definitely was in more pain during that period because I wasn't active. And then we were here, and then we had to shut down because of COVID.
Sure.
And I was in a lot of pain during that time period.
Because your body was used to a certain amount of activity, and then suddenly...
I was in a lot of pain. I get sausage fingers really bad as well, and it was rough. So, but I also didn't want to search for a new job because I knew we were going to open up eventually.
Of course.
As well as unemployment was phenomenal.
Right. Yeah. So I missed out on that. I'm a gig worker. They wouldn't give me unemployment.
So, but I was lucky enough to be able to do the unemployment, and so I didn't have to work. I made more not working than if I were to work.
Yeah, which can be a drawback as well.
Yes. So, because we went back before my unemployment ended,
right? So
it wasn't that big of a deal. But I was in a lot more pain for that, like 2 months that we weren't working. So.
Yeah, well, with I had a massive injury to my right leg. My femur was shattered in 7 pieces. I had 5 surgeries and was in and out of physical rehab for almost 2 years. And I get the same kind of aches and pains when I'm less active. The less active I am, the worse this leg becomes for me. And that's what the doctors told me is like, listen, if you're more active, you're going to have less problems with all of this, but you have to be consistent.
Yep.
And that's tough for me. Consistency isn't my middle name.
Gotcha. So I'm lucky to be blessed with a job that makes me be active.
Exactly.
So, that's, I mean, honestly, if I wasn't there, I don't know where I would be.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it got, back in 2016, I mean, I had a cane. I walked with a cane.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And now you're cane free, or do you keep one on
Nope,
standby just
I
in
don't
case?
even,
I have one in the truck for me just in case.
No idea where that cane even is. Probably at my grandparents' in storage somewhere. I don't know.
That's great. That's great.
So, like, I still definitely do have days where I'm like, I cannot walk from here to the bathroom. Those are, most of the time, only about a couple hours.
Right.
Now. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
So that being said, I know it's getting late, and I know you guys got a big date ahead of you tomorrow. What I would like to see if I can get out of it is where have you, or if you could recommend to another individual who's going through these kind of experiences, and you could help them through suggestion only, obviously.
Yeah.
What kind of a recommendation would you have? Be
active through the pain. Embrace it when it's there. Just let it hurt. But be active through the pain. It's the follow-up that's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
So.
And it
will eventually get better. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. And so I've also been in a transition period of trying to get a lot better, because like I can't hold my less than 1-year-old cousin for more than 5 minutes, and we want to have kids someday. So
yeah.
I've been trying to get better, and it's a slow, grueling process.
But has it made your faith stronger?
Yes, recently, yes.
Yeah.
So it definitely, at first, made my faith a lot weaker.
Yeah.
But I've learned to trust more.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes those challenges are put there for that very reason.
Yes. So.
Man, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your story with me. It was heartfelt, honest, and it means a lot to me, man. Can I give you a hug?
Yeah, absolutely.
Austin, what a guy. Hey, this is what Love with America Tour is all about, getting to know one another. And I'm a little emotionally charged right now from that myself, but I'm going to keep it cool. And thank you again so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, I have one hint for you. When riding this thing, if you're a guy, don't close your legs up at the end.